But Muhammad's kicks have led the dance, as has his pressure.
God put me in that type of shape at that right time for that right call to make this choice.
Belal! Remember the name Muhammad!
Welcome to UFC Unfiltered.
Please tell me that's on video. I've never been happier.
I'm made for a fucking podcast. We're dangerous. Listen to me, we're at it.
Welcome to UFC Unfiltered. I hope we're taping. We're having a lot of technical problems. If my audio craps out or whatever, just let me know because I'm in Austin, so I'm on terrible Wi-Fi right now in this hotel.
Appreciate you for having me.
I can't believe this is your 9th time on the show. Sometimes they'll tell us how many times people have been on, and I forget how many times we've actually talked to you.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while though since I've been on here, so it's glad to be back.
Yes.
Well, I seen you. Hi, buddy. First of all, good to see you. I seen you at the fights the other day, and I'm trying to remember if I got your attention, because you know when you're like sitting somewhere, you see somebody and you know them and you want to like get their attention and wave, but then you're looking and they're not looking, and then you look away and then you look and you want to be like, I just want to be like this, like kind of like, but I kind of play it cool and I kind of I want to try to get your attention. Did I say hello to you or am I crazy?
I saw you in New Jersey. In New Jersey, when I fought Gilbert, we saw each other at the weigh-ins.
Weren't you just
I was in Vegas.
I was in Vegas too. I seen you, but I guess we didn't talk. This is a big waste of time, Jimmy.
That's
but
okay.
I'm so happy.
No, it's not. It's a great start. Did I wave to you? Did I not wave to you? It's an excellent start, Matt. I disagree.
Shit. Yo, guys,
Yes.
I'm so tired. I'm getting a second win. My day so far, I usually teach to 7 a.m. and then I come home. I don't know about you, Belal. I think we talked about this before, and I believe you said you're not into naps. Are you a nap guy?
No, I love naps. Yeah,
I love naps.
Yeah,
I fucking love naps. Jimmy, I'm a big nap guy.
I know you are.
Some guys, I hate it. Some guys, when you say you nap, they're like, ugh, how do you do that? I don't know. They look down upon it. But today I did the 7 a.m. and I usually have one of my black belts, Gersh, do the noon class. He had something growing on him. I don't listen. Ring work. Ring work. A little Lotriman goes right away. I don't know what he had on him, but I ended up teaching a noon class. And again, now I'm wasting time. Guys, let's get what Belal. Jimmy.
What?
All right, Belal Muhammad. I want to know what's up with you, but do you know Jimmy's in Austin and he just did the mothership?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I did 6 shows, and the club, it's really, I'm just saying that because I'm friends with Joe. I mean, it's really perfectly run. It's a perfect club. I mean, the green room is the best I've ever been in. The sound system is perfect. They shut people up. They throw people out if they talk. It's fucking great. Yeah, I've had an amazing trip.
I just started getting like addicted to the Kill Tony podcast, the comedy show, and I'm like, bro, I just want to go down there just for that show. Like, it's hilarious.
Yeah, he tapes it every Monday. Every Monday is sold out. And I did it. I did the first one at the Mothership with Whitney and Bert Kreischer, and I'm down here I'm staying an extra day to do it as well. Tonight.
Awesome.
By the time this airs, I'll have already taped it. But yeah, it's great. Austin is it's a weird city. It's scarier during the day than it is at night. Like at night, there's people milling about, but during the day, man, it's really fucking quiet and kind of weird. And there's just a few homeless guys. During the day is much more nerve-wracking than the evenings in Austin.
It is a little, you know what, man? I don't know. Maybe because I'm used to New York or whatever. I'm not saying it's forgettable, but I was there for the Rogan show. And I'm telling people it's my first time there. And then Dean's like, yo, dummy, we shot the show here. I'm like, oh, fuck. We did it looking for a fight, Austin. I forgot I was even there. So,
yeah, I just listened to that podcast. That podcast was great with you three on there. That was really hilarious.
We had so much fun. Thank you for watching, Belal. Jimmy doesn't support anything I do. But
that's not true. I was just trying to find a good block of time, and I'm such a fucking lazy pig. I haven't been in the gym in a week.
It's okay about you not working out and me being on on Joe's show, and Belal gave me a compliment about it. And a lot of people, I got nice feedback, but there's some feedback I didn't get, and that hurts the most.
But you will get it. You will get it.
Belal, let's catch up with you, bro. I'm looking on whenever we have a guest on, they give a little rundown, and I'm looking at your record, and there's so many W's. You got so many wins. So many wins, my man. And I see one L in the last how many fights? It's fucking crazy. What kind of streak are we
10 straight? Are you on 10 straight?
I'm on 10 straight, and I won 12 of my last 13. So yeah, we got a decent streak going right now.
So what is happening now? What do we got on the radar? What are we pushing for? Talk to me.
I mean, for me now, it was I took that Gilbert Burns fight on 3 weeks' notice, and it was one of the key factors in taking that fight on 3 weeks was if you win, you get the winner of Colby and Leon. So it's like now it's just waiting to see when they book Colby against Leon for the belt, and then I'm supposed to get the winner. And Dana said guaranteed 100%. So now it's like having the patience to wait and having your coaches like force me, because I'm a guy that's always training. I'm always in the room. I'm always working. I'm like, bro, I like to fight. If I'm healthy, I want to fight. But for some reason, they want to give the title fight to Colby. So it's like staying patient and just having the mentality of, all right, we got next no matter what. This is what we worked for. The goal is to be the champion. The goal is not to win, have a 15-fight winning streak. The goal is to be the world champion and have the belt wrapped around my waist.
I'm sorry, Matt. Do you want to stay in kind of close to fighting shape? Because you never know what happens in somebody's training camp. And as it gets closer, if something happens to Colby or he has to postpone or he has to, look at Jamal Hill just, had to step aside for a long time. So do you want to say, hey, look, I will be ready just in case?
Yeah, I'm always ready. I'm always training. Like right now, I just trained. I'm still training twice a day. I have guys in a room because we got a small gym here in Chicago. So like, when one of us have a fight, we all have a fight. So I got a training partner that's fighting in Nashville for the UFC, Ignacio Balmondez. And then I got another training partner fighting in Australia in September. So I got 2 guys that are in my weight class that have fights coming up. So I have to be in the gym to help them because they're always in there to help me. Right.
Also, I'm thinking when they do have a date for that fight with Colby versus Leon, I mean, are you that guy showing up? Are they going to talk to you about making the weight and being that guy in case something goes wrong? They do that often. I mean, I would imagine I think they're doing that more than they're not lately. I mean, right? Aren't they having a guy in the wings in case something happens?
They've been doing that more often. For me, it's like I make weight pretty easily. So if they're going to pay me some money to make weight, I'll do it. But it's like, obviously I want to have a full camp and have a full fight camp for a fight. Because I don't want to just sit there and make weight for no fight. It's just like the fight at the end of your camp is what, like, that's the pot of the rainbow, right? The pot of gold. It's like making it to the fight. That's the goal. And that's what you want, that you work for. So like for having a camp and having nothing at the end of just being like, oh, well, at least I got to check the weigh in. It's like, I'm not that guy. I'm not like happy to weigh in for a check.
Oh, that's anticlimactic for sure.
Yeah. Right.
You tweeted a little bit about Jack Della Maddalena. And you said his fight IQ, I guess after the second round or the first round, you tweeted that against Hafez. What a great fight that was. And that to me is always a really, really dangerous fight with some guy. They just, they give him a big shot and he has nothing to lose and all the pressure. And I thought he eked that fight out. It's not the worst decision I've ever seen, but I kind of thought that Della Maddalena lost that fight. But I mean, I didn't go crazy when I saw the decision either. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was very close. And like I said, it's like little things like that, you get exposed a little bit with, everybody came in, they were giving Jack all this hype. He was knocking out 4 guys in a row. And then you go against your first grappler and the guy takes you down pretty easily. And like you're pulling guard with guillotines that weren't even like in tight. And when you're doing stuff like that, it tells me that your IQ is not there because you're beating up on the feet. And then anytime Hafez was shooting on him, he'll try to go for that guillotine. And I'm like, better grapplers, like you're supposed to fight Sean Brady. Like if Sean Brady gets on top of you, Sean Brady's going to go for a finish. Even if Hafez was in better shape and had a full of a camp, I think he would have been able to take advantage more of those positions when you're pulling yourself onto your back. And like I tell my guys, unless you're a full-grown black belt and you have a bunch of submissions under your belt, do not go to your back no matter what. Like if you can stay on your feet, stay on your feet. Unless you have a Kimura like Matt Serra, like don't pull a Kimura out of nowhere and you end up on your back, and then you end up losing a round. Because anytime you're on your back, you're losing.
Did you?
Yeah,
see
don't try to pull it off. I was gonna say, don't try to pull it off for the first time there. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're hitting it in the academy and training, if you're Gary Toning, who just got a rolling knee bar, beautiful. You know he's done that hundreds of times in the academy, if not thousands. So, you know, you can't try to get I've seen this before. Let me try this. That's not what you're trying to fight. You got to go to the moves that you know work for you. So when guys see a neck there, even if they're good at the guillotine, man, guys they're harder to tap. Unless you know you're putting guys to sleep with it, don't go to your back with it. Aljo learned that early on. It cost him a fight with Brian Caraway ages ago, before his IQ is what it is now. So those are mistakes guys usually, because if you don't lose the fight, you'll lose the round with a good grappler, you know?
Yeah, and nowadays the judges, you don't know what they're looking at. So it's for yourself. Anytime you're on your back, you're losing minutes, you're losing seconds. And like you said, the Gary Tonin knee bar was like nasty. And when you're hitting that against a Russian, and the way he'd explained it, he's like, well, I went foot on foot to like pop the knee. And I was like, I go back and watch it. I'm like, what do you mean by foot on foot? And it was like, it looked sick. It was nasty.
Beautiful.
Did you see in round 3, I think, Della Maddalena took him down. He was winning. He was striking really well, and he was really hurting him. And then he took him down. And I'm like, what is he doing? Like, that was such an odd decision to make. And then I think he wound up on his back at the end of the round. Didn't he get reversed and wound up on his back at the end of the round?
Yeah. That's for me. I pride myself on fight IQ and knowing what the guy's strength is and what the guy's weakness is. Hafez, he's a grappler, and that's whatever you watch tapes on it. That's all he does is grapple. So for you're winning on the feet. Why are you going to take him down to his world where he's comfortable? Most grapplers, even when they're tired, they get into a flow state when it's on the ground. That's when they're comfortable. They're not as tired on the ground. You could tell Jack is more comfortable on the feet, where he doesn't get as tired on the feet. So why are you going to go in there, try to take him down, and then you're going back into his world where he could end up on top like he did? And you never know. One of those judges gave that fight to Hafez. That's like you're taking 3-year steps back. When you're a ranked fighter, you lose to an unranked guy. Now you're like, you lose all that hype.
I also thought that it was I looked at they included in the prep today some stats which were a little more pro Maddalena than I would have thought. Like, I mean, obviously Hafez controlled like 648 to 119 on the ground, but you know, total strikes only 48 to 149 for Jack, 83 significant to 32. Jack did, I think, have a better fight than people gave him credit for, just because he spent so much time on the ground. And I guess you're right. It depends on what our judge is looking at. Because sometimes you'll see a split decision, you'll see 30-27 the opposite way. And you're like, what the fuck do you guys, how do you have some coherent way of judging this where a fighter knows what he has to do to win besides knock somebody out?
I mean, even in that Brandon Moreno against Pantoja fight, there was like one judge gave it 4 rounds to 1 for Brandon. And I was like, how the heck did you give it 4 rounds to 1? Like, I had a 2-2 going to if you didn't see it 2-2 going into the 5th, how are you a judge? Like, if you already had it 3 rounds to Brendan in that fight, it like made no sense. Yeah,
we talk a lot about. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna.
Obviously, we talk a lot about the judges on this because, again, bad judging is part of it sometimes. But sometimes when you see things that feel egregious, you're like, I mean, that a guy works really hard to get to especially a championship fight, and when you see somebody making such a shit. It's harder to complain about a fight like this that's so close. But when you see like an egregiously bad decision, you're like, I don't know what that guy was watching. And there should be some way that those guys get judged on the way they judge a fight.
Yeah, because you're changing people's lives. There's like millions of dollars on the line right there based off of your decision. And if you're not capable of making that choice, then we need to move somebody else in. And I don't understand. We're just going to keep having these errors and we're going to keep having these conversations about it, but there's really nothing happening about it because, well, it's on the commission. So we'll let the commission choose who the judges are going to be.
Well, that's what I like about, finishes. I want to talk about Nas, man, our guy, Nazim Sadikov. He took out Terrence McKinney. And I'll tell you, that first round, it was like, is this going to be a 10-8 round? Because he's controlling him so well with the back triangle and the back control. But no, because he got out with like maybe under a minute left, whatever it was, he started putting on some steam. And so at least it wasn't a 10-8 round for Terrence. But then, boom, talk about turning it around, man. Nas, I was so impressed with Nas because Terrence, that's a hard fight for your well, is it his first fight? I know he fought the Contenders. Yeah, Contenders, and this is the second one now in the big show. And he's answering the call, and he's doing it with a stud like Terrence McKinney. I'm really proud of Nas. I thought it was a great showing.
Yeah, he looked really good. And then to have that, the patience, even though you got taken down in the first round, you had your back taken the whole round. A lot of guys will lose faith. They'll put their head down. They'll get upset. But like he came out in the second round and he broke Terrence. I think fatigue played a huge factor in it. So to come out of there like you said, could have been a 10-8 round in the first round and to come and finish him in the second round, it shows how tough he is. And his first fight in the UFC was a barn burner too. It was a brawl back and forth. I think he won 2 bonuses in a row. So like for a guy like that, your first 2 fights in the UFC to get 2 big bonuses, that's huge. Didn't
McKinney too, if I'm remembering the fight correctly, he had the body lock on and he had himself next to the cage. So Nas couldn't turn. You have to turn onto whichever foot you have to turn onto, but he couldn't do that because he was next to the cage. If I'm remembering right, I thought that was really smart of McKinney to do that.
Yeah, I mean, McKinney, I think he has a lot of talent. I think he just needs better IQ and better ways to use his energy because, he's very explosive. And usually after that first round, he's usually tired. And this fight, he's usually a brawler. This fight, he came out trying to grapple early because he said he doesn't have wrestling. And I was like, man, if you're not used to grappling in fights, you're going to get tired if your body's not used to that. And it looked like it in the second round because he took a lazy takedown and then stayed there the rest of the time. And Nas, you can just tell that he has great cardio, stayed there, defended the second takedown, and took his back, and he just went for the finish. And Terrence kind of like just gave in a little bit.
I don't know if you've seen with that strangle, when he got that rear naked choke on, he had his arm trapped behind his fucking back. Yeah. He had his arm trapped. So he had one arm to defend, and it just wasn't happening. It was pretty nasty. That's why he saw Terrence afterwards. Terrence goes, he said he wasn't getting fatigued. He felt great, but he had his arm trapped and he couldn't defend it. So that sucks.
Yeah.
That's rough. That's a rough one. You know what I want to talk about, guys? And it's getting a lot of memes and a lot of stuff going on. And I understand, but I want to hear your thoughts about it. I got my thoughts on it. Chelsea Chandler and Norma Dumont. Now, they were having some friction, these ladies. They had some they got heated during the weigh-ins. And it's funny because the girl, Norma's, she's Brazilian. So in Portuguese, she's like basically saying that like Chelsea's being a little too mouthy, and then Chelsea's giving her the birds and she's flipping her off, and she's like, "Oh, I got these too." It's fucking great. I like that shit, And then during the fight, she got hit with those first few shots, and then she literally turned her back and ran. I want your thoughts on it, guys. Tell me. I got my thoughts.
That's what I would do.
There it is. Honestly,
Jimmy goes, finally, somebody using my technique in there.
It looked like she didn't belong in there with her because it's like you never turn your back in a fight. You never do that and run. And I tell people all the time, it's like these younger guys, right? Don't let the act be tougher than you fight. Like she was talking all this big talk at the weigh-ins, doing all this, giving you the middle finger, calling out Ronda Rousey. And I'm like, you're hyping yourself up and you weren't ready for the fight. You weren't concentrating on the thing that really mattered. And that's the real fight. And Norma's a beast. Norma, you don't want to sit there and underestimate her and, sit there and look past her. And I think that she went in there and it got real. Like she even tweeted out or she put it on Instagram. It's like, at this moment, I knew I effed up. And it's like, when you get in, it's probably the most embarrassing thing in the world for her right now because everybody's memeing about it, UFC fighters, even herself, but it's hilarious.
Jimmy, your thoughts?
I mean, I agree. It's probably embarrassing. It's one of those things you do in a moment where you're just trying to survive and you look back and you go, what the fuck was I doing? Yeah, I think it's probably just embarrassing, especially when other fighters are making fun of it. It's like, that's rough.
Now, I got a little bit of a different take on this. Now,
Right.
I seen it. And again, when you first look at it, it could be like, oh, fuck, this girl doesn't want to be hit. I don't think it was that at all. I honestly don't. Because this is the thing. I don't think it was, cowardice. It wasn't. She wasn't being a coward. She got fucking hit with that right hand. And if you see it, she got hit so hard, it almost turned her around. And then the other couple of shots were coming where she didn't see them. So when she got hit, then she got hit in that back almost of the head. And again, so now you're getting hit where you don't know where you're getting hit from. That's when she started fucking taking off. I believe it was part of being shook. And then once she was shook, she didn't know where they were coming from, so she wanted to make up some distance, and it ended up being a sprint. It looked funny, but if you watch, and not only, I'm talking about seconds after that, she wasn't flinching, she wasn't shying, she wasn't pulling guard, she was fighting. She was taking one to give one, she was getting hit, going forward. The girl is far from a coward. So don't get me wrong, I believe she's taking it the right way. She's like, look, I talk some shit. I did that in the fight. It looks horrible. She's doing that better than fucking obviously wanting to fucking jump off a bridge. But she's owning it. But I don't think it was being a coward. I think she was fucking stunned. She was getting hit. Holy fuck. The rest of the fight, she got outfought. She definitely lost and got outfought by Norma, but she's far from a coward. And I think that was more of that situation.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's cowardice. I mean, I definitely wouldn't accuse her of being a coward. It was just a decision you make that looks bad. You know what I mean? Like, you're just trying to get away from being hit, and it's
like experience. Because usually when you get rocked, all right, let me grab a hold of something, let me shoot in on something. I think lack of experience for her was like, oh, I got hit. Let me get a space, but you're running away literally in the opposite direction. I think once she gets more fights under her belt, she'll realize, all right, try to clinch. Let me try to do this. There's ways to defend after you get rocked, you get hit with something good, and where you could shell up and see the other punches that are coming at your head.
Yes, and you see everything in hindsight. 2020 is fucking what is it?
Hindsight is 2020. Yes.
Yes. So I mean, I think this girl got fucking blitzed, got her back shown, and it looked fucking hysterical when DC's cracking up. But she realized it looks. I don't think we're going to see the last of her. I think she's tough.
Bilal, were you the one who tweeted? I think it was Masvidal Colby. Were you the one who tweeted that? Was that yours?
Yeah.
That's very funny.
I was like that. That's what I figured that the event at the restaurant happened when
And you tweeted something too, if I'm remembering, where you said about you don't think Colby is that tough of a fight in the welterweight division. Do you think for you he's the easiest fight?
Yeah, I do. I literally think he's the easiest fight in the division. When I'm looking at it skill for skill, what does he bring to the table? He brings cardio to the table and wrestling. And his wrestling usually is not even really that good. Wrestling is good because he shoots multiple times. So it all comes back down to his cardio. But he doesn't have a striking threat where he can knock you out or anything like that. He's just going to shoot on you. And even on the ground, he doesn't have that jiu-jitsu where he could tap you out or get you in bad positions. A lot of the guys that he shoots and takes down, they pop right back up. And if I'm looking at level of competition, Colby's literally only wins that of the guys that are still in the UFC right now are Brian Barbanera and Max Griffin. Like, he hasn't fought anybody that's ranked right now in the division. And the only other guy that he's fought is ranked is Kamaru Usman, and he lost him twice. So I think that he's very smart in picking his fights and choosing who he's going to fight, because he'll fight a Robbie Lawler coming off a couple losses. He'll fight Tyron Woodley coming off 4 losses. He'll beat a Masvidal coming off of 3 losses. It's like he's only beating guys that are coming off losses, but we give him all this credit because he had 2 good losses to Usman. It's like, congratulations, you lost, but you had a good fight, but you lost. You got knocked out one, and then the second one, you lost the decision. So, like, I don't know why Dana White and all these other people give Colby all this hype, like he's some beast or whatever. It's because he has a good mouth. It's because he has Donald Trump in his corner. It's like, no, skill for skill, he's terrible.
What do you think about him and Leon?
I think it'll be a pretty much easy fight for Leon. I think Leon showed his last fight against Usman that his takedown defense got better. And even in the second fight with Usman, where Usman was able to hold Leon down and break him that way, I don't think Colby's going to be able to hold him down. I think Leon will just keep getting up. And Colby's been rocked his last 3 fights. Like, Masvidal had moments of only finishing him. Kamaru finished him and then almost finished him in the other fight. So it's like these guys hard punches on him, and I think he's losing his chin. And it's just like the layoff. You're not fighting. You're not training. It's been over a year since he's fought. And his last win is against Masvidal, who's like on a 3-fight winning streak. 3-fight losing streak at the time. But now you're going to fight Leon, who just coming off of beating Usman twice. It's like he's fighting Usman. This guy's sitting doing nothing, but beating Masvidal. I think the level of competition is going to hurt him too.
What do you? Okay,
how old is Colby now? Do we know?
35.
35.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, 35, Jimmy.
I think Jones is 35 too, right? I mean, that's not at one point in fighting, 35 was like, oh, you're getting up there. But now you seem like you could be considered in your prime 34, 35, 36. I mean, what do you think it's going to hurt Jones? Stipe. Stipe's had this long layoff, and I actually wanted to mention that. And then you just mentioned the fact that he hasn't fought in a year. It's been over 900 days, which could be great. He hasn't taken any damage. His body, you know what I mean? He hasn't been getting hit and kicked, but Jones hasn't fought that much in that time period either. So Jones is almost just as fresh. I mean, after that Cyril fight he took 0 damage. So what do you think of that? Is that going to hurt him?
I think it's going to hurt him just because you're fighting Jon Jones. I think Jon Jones is just going to be a problem for anybody at the heavyweight division for a guy that could wrestle like that and move like that and had the length like that. And, even Stipe, your last fight's coming off of a loss, and he slowed down a lot from the old Stipe days. And I just don't think that he's all in. I think now he's looking at it like, this is a big money fight. This is one of my last big money fights. Let me go out there and see what happens. But I just think that Jones, his long layoff is okay because he's just so naturally gifted. I don't think that Stipe has the same natural gifts as Jon Jones, his length, his speed, his size. And I just think that Jon Jones knows he cares more about legacy than anything. So I think Jon Jones knows if I go out there and I walk through Stipe, I'm the greatest fighter to ever do it.
Jimmy, enough of all this MMA bullshit. I want to talk about a day in the life of Belal Muhammad. Belal, you wake up, coffee, tea. What do we do? Give me a day. Give me a day in the life.
I'm going straight to coffee. I have to have coffee.
I'm a coffee guy.
I'm more of a coffee guy than anything.
I'm a coffee and I'm a company man. But go ahead.
Yeah, I gotta have coffee, and I'm big on audiobooks. Like I always listen. I don't like watching TV in the morning. I like to sit there and listen to audiobook or like a podcast, but I'm a big audiobook person.
What are we listening to now? Or I will give you something that we listen to, a book. I like that you say you listen to it. Some guys like, oh, I just read how many books? I'm like, really? You read that many books? Yeah, on my way to work. Boo! You listen. There's nothing wrong with it.
No.
Yeah.
I'll be reading books more than fucking anybody lately. I'll play that anyway. But go ahead.
Right? I said, bro, I'm going to get a bookshelf and put all my audiobooks that I listen to on the bookshelf. Because I'm like, bro.
They can ask you, dude, you'll have the answers.
You've read it. You have. You ingested it.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, I'm taking it. But right now, it's kind of a girly book, but it's really good. It's called The Housemaid. It sounds girly, but it's really good. It's like a thriller. It's called Housemaid.
Do you like fiction or nonfiction?
I get in modes. Like sometimes I like fiction. Sometimes I like nonfiction. If I listen to like a good autobiography or something, then the next book will probably be like a nonfiction book. But I always like thrillers. Thrillers are like my favorite ones, and podcasts.
Oh, man.
I drive so much. I drive 45 minutes to one practice, 45 minutes home, but then my night practice is another 45 minutes. So I'm driving I'm on the road 4 hours a day over here.
Oh, okay. So it can't get you. I do it when I walk to the Comedy Cellar, and when I was doing books on tape, it was great because again, it was 30 minutes there, it was 30 minutes back, and you're blowing through books when you're on the elliptical. But then I just kind of I tapped out, and I don't know why. I do things in hunks, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, all right, I'm not listening to those anymore. I'm kind of Audible keeps telling me how many fucking credits I have, and I haven't used one in a while. I think I got to get back into it. Do you ever stop listening halfway through?
Sometimes if I don't like the voice or the book starts getting the same thing over and over, repetition. But I have a lot of those. I have some of those books where it's let me go back and see if it changed up or something like that. But sometimes I was reading a different book, and then I started this book, and this book just caught me really good, and I was like, oh man, this book is really good. And I finished it in one day.
The Housemaid?
Yeah, it's good.
What's it about?
It's like a maid. So it starts off with this new maid. She gets a new job. She's ex from prison. So she was 10 years in prison. So she couldn't get any regular job. And all of a sudden this rich family hired her. And
why'd she go to prison? Why?
It doesn't tell you yet. So
okay.
Yeah. So she gets hired. She's like, oh, I got to get hired by these people because, nobody else is going to hire me with my, I don't have no resume or anything. So my record. So then she realized that the wife of this family is crazy. She'll sit there and just throw milk on the floor and clean this up, or throw dishes on the floor, and she'll just have those moments of just craziness. And then, the husband is very good looking, he's rich, and the maid and the husband, they start, catching eyes with each other. They start making out, and he ends up leaving his wife for this maid, but the maid doesn't realize that the wife wanted it the whole time because the husband's actually a psycho. And once the husband likes you, he puts you in this little room, and it's like a torture room. And so he makes you become his puppet. So now he put the maid in the room. He locked her in the room. Ever since they fell in love with each other, he locked her in the room, and now he told her pull out 100 strands of your hair, and I want it straight down to the root. And you slide it underneath the door, and there better be 100 strands. He's like, are you joking around? He's like, no, you're gonna stay in this room. So he kept her in the room for 4 days. And it's really good. I don't want to give the whole story away, but it's good.
All I know is at that part in the audiobook, Jimmy's already got his pants down. Jimmy, it's not actually, that's not erotic. That's really sick.
I probably am. It reminds me a lot of my own relationship. That's why. Except I'm the one who gets locked in the room. And she wants 100 ass hairs.
Yeah, it's psychotic. I'm like, bro, who the heck makes up these books? People are nuts.
So after the audiobook, you listen to your audiobook, you had your coffee. You don't have a fight coming up, but you are staying sharp. Maybe you could, give me a day. What are you doing?
Usually I train in the morning. So we're training at 10:30 to 1 p.m.
Okay.
So by the time I get home, I got a pool. So I'm playing in the pool, or it's in Chicago. It's perfect summertime weather right now. So either doing that, barbecuing, chilling.
Yes.
I got a Frenchie. So the Frenchie is running around all day. Anybody that comes knocks on the door, he's going crazy. So to have him, he's a handful. So playing with him, teaching him how to swim, little things like that. But for the most part, it's more just chilling stuff.
You have a significant other?
Yeah. She's working. She works all the time. So when she gets off work, and it's literally just treating the Frenchie like it's a baby.
Are you guys watching anything? Are you streaming anything together? Me and my wife are watching Yellowstone, and we're we like it.
I never got past the first episode. Yeah, I liked it, but I was just and I just never watched the second one. I don't know why.
You didn't give it a chance, Jimmy.
I probably didn't. I get distracted.
Yeah, Yellowstone's really good. There's a new one on Apple Plus that's really good right now. It's called Hijack. It's like a plane being hijacked. It's really good too.
How many episodes did that have?
It's like one of those stupid things that's every other week now. So it's every week they come out with a new episode. It's like 3 episodes right now, but it has Idris Elba in there, so he's a good actor.
Oh, he's great. Yeah. Did you see The Wire?
Yeah. Those are epic shows.
Yeah, he's tremendous. I didn't. I can't get. I'm not patient enough for week by week. I have to wait until the whole thing is done, not get any spoilers, and then just watch it back to back. I lose patience week to week.
Yeah, for sure. We sit there and run out of shows so much because I'm like, we should have never splurged on that whole show. Then we're starting to realize maybe the week for week isn't that bad, because if we do have a whole season, it's we're done with it in a weekend.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure on these streaming services too. It's all right, look, you have my attention for 3 days. Now what for the rest of the month? That's a lot of pressure to put out good content.
Sometimes,
they're starting to run out of ideas. I feel too. I'll sit there and I'll go back to old shows like Breaking Bad or Entourage are my favorite show. So I'll always rewatch those shows because these newer shows aren't that good.
That's funny, man. Shit. I just went back to Deadwood. You ever see Deadwood? I like Westerns because Deadwood's fucking cool. Yeah. I like the Wild West shit because it's so it's so crazy back then. And it makes you really appreciate shit. Dude, rattlesnakes and fucking getting scalped and fucking getting shot in the saloon. And it's just fucking crazy. Wild Bill Hickok is in it. And he's not he's a role, but he's the major guy in it, but he's in it. It's really, you ever see Deadwood, Jim?
I saw I want to say the first of 2 seasons, right? I don't remember it. I remember liking the acting in it. But was it a little slow? Again, it's been 10 years.
It could be, but it's hardcore, man. It's hardcore. There's some great scenes in that. And also one I recommend, and I think it was ahead of its time, man, was Rome. It was on
Never
HBO.
saw it.
Rome on HBO. Holy fuck, man. Titus Pulo is a PIMP. That guy. Holy shit, man. The 13th. That was the name of their battalion. Oh, dude. Rome was great. I don't know.
It was like $5 million an episode, though. I think Rome went away because it was too expensive for HBO.
$5 million an episode.
It was some fucking insane amount of money. Wasn't that just one season, Matt, or was that two?
It might be one, but it was historically like kind of close to what was going on there. You know what I mean? With Caesar and fucking, I forgot the other guy's name, but he's getting stabbed in the fucking Senate thing. It was crazy. It's good. What is it? Caesar.
Brutus.
Oh, Brutus. Yeah, Brutus. That's right.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's how I like to learn about history, by watching that shit.
I was just in Mexico with Yair for his training camp. So we were down there for like 2 weeks. And then it was like, he had us like sitting in like the regular like neighborhoods. We had like an Airbnb, and then they were at like a sports bar just like watching the fights. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to walk home. And it was like 10 p.m. He's like, oh, here, brother, take my knife. And I was like, do I need your knife to walk home? He's like, yeah, you're good, man. But just in case. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. For protection. All right.
How far did you have to walk?
It was probably like 2 miles. And then,
that's a long walk. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But for me, I'm like from Chicago. So I was like, yeah, I don't need it. But then when I started walking in at night, and I was like, it was a pretty bad neighborhood. And I was like, oh, okay, good thing I had that. There was like a bunch of loose dogs.
What is it?
And there was like a bunch of rapid loose dogs everywhere when I was on the streets. And I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do if one of these dogs try to attack me. I don't want to stab one of them.
Did anybody bother you?
No, like the people were there were actually pretty nice. You had your randoms that would give you that dirty look, but I think they just knew I didn't belong because I was walking around with Crocs on.
Oh, shit, man.
So you didn't want to take an Uber?
Yeah, no, it was weird because, like, for some reason, the houses there don't have, like, the addresses numbers on there. So, like, I didn't know what my address was for the Airbnb, but I knew how to get there by walking there. So, like, even if I used the Uber, I didn't speak Spanish. So, like, if I'm going to tell this guy where to go, I was like, I don't know what to tell him. So I was just, like, give him directions using my hands. So I'm like, forget it, man. I'll just walk.
Well, if I was, Yair, I'd be like, hey, dude, you need a lift? Come on, Yair. You're there helping the kid out. You don't want to make it like the fucking the Mexican version of Warriors. Get the fuck out of there, man.
Literally, I'm like, bro, after that first day, I'm like, all right, I'm going to stick with you guys from now on. But I'm like, I'm not going to go walk by myself anymore.
What did you think about the Volkanovski fight? Isn't it crazy how good he is?
Yeah, Volkanovski's super smart. I think strategist-wise, Volkanovski's very smart. I mean, we knew what he was going to try to do. We know, like, you don't want to sit there and strike with Yair because that leaves them openings.
Yeah.
And we knew he was going to go in there for the takedown, but he's just so tough, man. And I think that a lot of people really don't understand how strong he is and how smart he is. And his top game is really good from the guard. Like, you shouldn't even be playing guard with him. And I think that's where Yair kind of made his mistakes, where he stayed in the guard too much, was trying to strike off his back instead of just getting up, just working to get up. And I think that we've seen it even with Volk against Islam when he got on top of him in that last round. His ground and pound is so good and his pressure on top is so good that anybody who tries to play guard with him is not going to work. And, his submission defense is really good, working with Craig Jones. And you've seen him almost get tapped out by Ortega and not give up. So, like, why play that game with him? Just keep it on the feet. Just defend the takedowns. And I think he'll have a tough time against Topuria. Topuria got a really good ground game, and his stand-up is really good.
Yeah, I think that was the third round against Ortega, which I think that is where because he had those fights with Max before, and I thought that Max won at least one of those fights, and people kind of had this thing with Volkanovski, like, well, I don't know. And then when he survived that third round against Ortega, that choke, I think everybody just kind of, who wasn't 100% sure about Volkanovski, myself included, you're like, yeah. He's as good as they say he is.
But I will say this, even though we're teammates and we're friends and I'm biased, that headbutt played a huge part in the finishing sequence. He headbutted him, and Yair only had maybe 20 seconds to a minute to recover. And I'm telling people, I'm like, bro, that headbutt makes a big difference. And people are like, oh, well, what are you talking about? You finished him with this or that. I'm like, bro, you don't know how rocked you are after a headbutt. Like, he could have had a concussion, and that other punch probably wouldn't have played that much of a damage or roll on it if he didn't get headbutted like that, or he had a full 5 minutes to recover.
Did he not? What happens with that? Did he not get 5 minutes? They only give you how much time do they give you?
They don't give you 5 minutes for headbutts. For headbutts, it's like they just like, yo, they're trying to rush you really quick. Like, all right, you good? You good? Can you see? Or you're right? And they gave it probably like maybe 1 minute at most. The 5 minutes is only for eye pokes and low blows.
Right.
50 fucking stitches. Look at this. From a headbutt. 50 fucking stitches. From the doctor's name was Wilbur. I was in fucking Indiana. And fucking Dr. Wilbur. And Longo's like this to the side. Like fucking put his, it was fucking, he's like, you sure you don't want to wait to go home to a plastic surgeon? And this guy was fucking like Dr. Frankenstein. Dude, I love that shit. I had to fight 2 rounds with that thing with a vagina on my head. But let me ask you, Belal, what the fuck was I going to ask? Oh, I know. You still doing that podcast with the
Jason
Anik twin? Yes.
Yeah. We're still doing it. Yeah, we're still doing it. We did kind of like a live show at the UFC X. It was cool. We were just like walking around, and we had like we made our own section. We had like fans come up, and I was like calling fans out like 3 at a time, and I would like just show them like face smashes or asking questions. And if you had like, I told them if you got 10 questions right, I was gonna give you $1,000. And I was just like, man, I hope nobody gets 10 questions right.
Well, the reason I'm bringing it up because I don't bring up losses. I like to bring up when I win things. So I was on the show, and I went versus the great. Who the fuck did I? Mike. Who did I go versus?
Michael Chiesa.
Michael Chiesa. He's so great that I forgot his fucking name. No, I seen him the other day. I love Michael Chiesa. And let me tell you something. I don't want to be a braggart, but oh my God, was I on fire. Right, Belal?
You dominated him. I'm not gonna lie. That was pretty dominated.
Jimmy,
yes,
buddy.
Jimmy, go on the show, Jimmy. Don't big time Belal.
He's never asked me to go on the show, but if he ever contacts me, I will go on the show. But
let's go. Okay, perfect.
I will not get any questions. What's one of the questions you would ask? Like, what is the question you would ask?
A lot of it's just funnier stuff. So like I'll do like 2 fighter faces put together, like meme them together, and it'll be like, imagine 2 fighters had a baby. And then the last show we did like we put girl fighters with guy filters, and you just had to figure them out. And then we'll have like name scramble or nickname game, like a fighter's nickname. So a lot of it's pretty easy. So we don't try to make it difficult. We had a couple where we had to level up the questions because Aaron Bronstetter was like a killer on the show. Eric Nixon's like a 3-time champ on the show. So like with those guys, I have to like level up the questions. But like the last show we had Roman Bravo Young on there, and against like Amir Albazi, and it was like a very close game. And Roman was like super nervous. Like, oh, I'm not gonna get any questions right, and he ended up winning because, like I said, it's like just like a fun show. No hard questions.
It's one of the but as you're talking, all I'm thinking is, wow, Belal does show prep. I'm such a fucking lazy bum, and you're putting all these things together. You use these Snapchat filters, and I am so lazy. I'm just amazed that you're doing show prep. That's impressive.
For me, because I like to have fun with it. I don't want to just have I wanted my show to be different, and I think a lot of fighters and athletes will just, like love competition. So like making the show competitive, it makes these guys like come out of their personality a little bit more. If those guys are like kind of quiet, when you get into that game of like, oh man, it's a close game. Let me call it. Let me do this. Let me do that. It's like you see a different side of most of these guys.
And it keeps them engaged. People are very engaged. They have to listen. They have to engage. Yeah.
And what's the name of the podcast, buddy?
Remember the show.
I knew that. I just wanted everybody to.
Yeah. And where can people? When can people hear it? And where can they watch it on YouTube?
Every Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern time on Anik and Florian YouTube page.
Oh, nice. You guys go out live, or you just post it then?
We just go live. Everything we do is live. So like I think
great.
that's what makes it kind of funner too, because sometimes guys will just show up on a show early or show up on a show late, and when you're doing it live, you never know what you're gonna get. Like we had a bunch of shows where guys will tell the guys to come on at 7:45 or 8:45, and they'll just pop on at like 8:30. So we're like, all right, well, you're gonna start the show with us. So it's just cool.
Well, you don't. I was on Joe Rogan's, and I don't know why this is coming to me now. I believe you got brought up sometime. Unless this was off air. I did go out to eat afterwards with him. You don't curse. I heard. You don't swear.
No, yeah, I don't curse.
I'm not judging you at all. I'm a potty mouth. I'm horrible.
Yeah.
But now tell me about that.
I mean, for me, it was just like I never like did it from the beginning. I was never like a swearer. So like even now, it's like funnier because I'll say like "what the fudge" or something, and like I'm starting to get my other teammates and stuff to say the same thing, and they'll all be saying it, and like they just start realizing like, man, why do I curse? Like I don't really need to. And I don't know why. It just like, it never like came to me where I'm like, man, I got to curse, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. And I just think that it makes everything funner. It makes it funnier when, like, even when I'm mad and I say, what the fudge, or I get mad like that, it's like, you'll never see me at that level of like wanting to curse or like curse somebody out.
Well, that's good. Unless you really do get to something and you're like, yo, motherfucker. And they'll be like, calm down. Calm down, tough guy. I don't know. It might not come out the same way. But
yeah, people always look at me weird.
You're like, you stub your toe or some shit, or you do something silly.
You just cursed.
You don't. Who did?
You did.
I did I?
Yes. I'm just pointing it out now.
I didn't do it yet. Did I do it yet?
You just cursed. You said shit.
Oh, I did. Did I say shit?
Yep.
Anyway, and I can't uncurse. I can't not curse. My point is, when you really get hurt of something, you say fudge. Do you do that, or do you?
Yeah. I'll say like fudge. Yeah.
That man.
Yeah. I'll look really weird, but I say it.
I'm gonna try, Jimmy.
And before we, I wanted to ask you a question before we go. I don't want to forget to ask your opinion on this. Obviously, Jamal Hill had to vacate. Prochazka had to vacate. Like, it's crazy what's going on in the light heavyweight division. It's like, I think they say it's the third champion in a row, or no, not in a row, but the third in the last X amount of years because of when Jones had to. What do you think happens? Does Baheda get a shot when he comes up against Jan, or is that too soon? What do you think they do?
Yeah, man, I'm like so heartbroken for Jamal. Like, I think he was going to be a champion for a while. I think he's that good, but to have that injury sucks. Right
is that
now,
a year out, do you think? Is that a year out, the Achilles?
It is. I think the only person like I can remember was like kind of like Kobe Bryant when it happened to him. But I think even for fighters, it's different too, because we do a lot of pivoting on our ankles, pivoting on our Achilles when we're throwing punches or kicks. So like, I'm just hoping that, he takes the full time off and not tries to rush back into it. And, you're working with the UFC, so they're going to give him the best recovery, the best rehab out here. So hopefully it's going to be a quick recovery for him. But right now, I think that, man, he's the best. Yeah. I think right now it's like you could do the Pereira against Jan, or even like the winner of that fight can fight like a Yuri if Yuri will be back. But you also still have Ankalaev out there who's on a 9-fight winning streak, and he's deserved it for a while. So you could do even Ankalaev and Yuri, and I think Abu Dhabi would be a huge fight for that, especially, Ankalaev being Muslim. I think, trying to rush it and give it to Pereira coming off of a loss in his first fight back at 205, I think that'd be tough to sell. But I mean, UFC could sell anything, right? I mean, they're selling Colby against Leon, which doesn't make any sense. So they could sell anybody fighting for the title any moment. Yeah,
I agree. And I don't think Baheda deserves his first fight at light heavyweight to be for a title. I think you have to beat somebody. There's like you said, Ankalaev is there. Is Prochazka coming back soon? Do we know when he's coming back?
I think that they were always like in negotiations with him and Jamal, but I think they were going to fight in maybe November, December. So I think that, but it's weird because he'll look and he'll be showing stuff on Instagram and stuff that he's okay and he's ready. And then like, I'm cool with Jamal. And I asked Jamal like, yo, when are you guys going to fight? He said, bro, I don't know. They keep saying he's not ready. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it doesn't really make any sense what's going on with Yuri. I don't know if he's trying to rush it and it just keeps injuring himself again, or the UFC is just trying to figure out the right perfect date for him. But it's tough.
Well, Jimmy, I just wanted to point out really quick, man. We got to give some props to Mayra.
Bueno Silva. Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, to take out Holly Holm was in that fight. It was a competitive first round, but it's not the first time we saw her do that guillotine. Oof. I don't know what they call that, a power guillotine. Everything's got a weird name, but it's
very
almost like a rear naked choke on like a guillotine, but like it's put on like a rear naked choke. And it is almost impossible to get out of. And, Holly just knew it was a checkmate. And, I'll tell you, I'm impressed because Holly Holm, talk about fight IQ. She's one of those girls that keeps, even at 40, I believe 1, she seems to keep getting better and improving a game with her wrestling and everything else. But that was something else, man. And she could have tapped out Brock Lesnar with that fucking choke.
Yeah, that was tight. And Holly Holm is one of those girls that's tough to finish or tough to catch in those positions because, like you said, she is very smart. She's not dumb in those spots. And if she does get close to getting caught with something, she's good at pulling out. But, yeah, she just caught that perfectly. And I think for a division who just lost the champion, and to finish a girl like Holly Holmes, that puts you right at the top.
Yeah.
Especially with the belt being vacated and stuff. But I think Juliana Pena is for sure going to be one half of the title, but I don't know who the other person is. Raquel Pennington's on a big win streak, 5-fight winning streak, but Bueno Silva, she's a talker, and to get a finish over Holly Holm, she may have worked her way into that next spot.
Yeah.
Jun Yun Park, excellent, beautiful submission, rear naked choke. Oh, the only thing I like better than that was his little dance afterwards. I'm not going to do it. I would do like the robot type of shit, but I like what he did. It suited him. He didn't try to overshoot it. It was nice. And I'll tell you, man, as Azatar is having a hard time, dude. That guy, you know, he lost to Manny Favola, and now he just lost again to Francisco Prada. And he's having, you know, that guy went from being, I believe, undefeated to now losing too.
Yeah.
It's a tough game we play, man. Shit.
It's tough. I tell people, man, like he works hard. And I was in Vegas last 2 weeks ago, working with him, training with him a little bit there. And like I seen how much effort he puts into everything. He's at every practice. He works hard. And I tell people, it's like, it's so hard to keep winning in this sport. And then once you had that one loss, you get finished by a guy like Matt Favola. You're like, well, Matt Favola is ranked right now. So at least I lost to somebody that's ranked higher up. And then you come out here and all it takes is one wrong move. He got caught with the spinning elbow, fell down. And, you know, he gave 2 thumbs up. And I'm like, why are you giving 2 thumbs up to the ref instead of covering yourself and, you know, trying to shield up? It's like the ref at that moment has to be like, stop asking that question. Are you okay? Because a fighter is going to give 2 thumbs up and then you get caught with 2 more punches and the ref stops the fight. Like, it makes no sense.
Belal, what advice we're going to stop now. I know we're going over. What advice would you give him? He went from being undefeated to dropping 2 in a row, 2 finishes. What would you tell this kid?
I would just say, don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. Like, you are that good. You got to the UFC for a reason. You got to this level for a reason. But it's just getting the right people around you, getting the right team around you that's going to help you evolve your game, because you're not going to go out there and knock everybody out. I think that he gets some of those spots where he hits them and then he looks and he's trying to look at his work because he's so used to these guys falling with every time he hits them. And you can't have those guys around you. Your coaches need to know that, all right, you're bad off your back. We need to help you get off your back, work off your back more than anything, instead of like, let's just hope he goes out there and knocks this guy out, because that's what we're playing for. It's like, no, everybody's so good nowadays. They're good everywhere, and you have to be good everywhere. So you have to have the right guys around you that are going to force you to get better, instead of the guys around you that are just like, yes, man.
Yep.
I love it. Excellent.
Belal, always great having you on, and hopefully we'll talk to you again before your next fight. And I can't wait to see you fight for a belt. You've been waiting a long time. You deserve it, and it'll happen soon.
Remember the show.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Remember the show is the podcast.
Every Thursday night.
Maybe one day Jimmy will be on there.
Oh, I don't know. We'll talk to you soon, brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Later, Belal.
Matt, talk to you soon, pal.
Bye, everybody.